back, everybody. We are on location at the Gallupville Gas Up 2022. I'll be walking around, showing you some neat things that I find interesting. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Horse, of course. A couple of cows. A dog-powered treadmill. So apparently you put your dog, and he ran, or she, and turned what appears to be a washing machine. Who'da thunk? Had no idea anything like that existed. Alright, we got a nice collection of hit and miss here. Got this very large one on a rolling chassis. Very low RPM. And here it appears we have a sawmill, which is not currently running. Looks like the steam engine down there is possibly warming up, getting ready to go. See the very large belt drive and the very large blade. A couple of steel pieces of equipment in there, probably just to make this thing a little easier to run, kind of make some pieces smaller. Oh, and then even around back there you can see a small conveyor belt that takes the sawdust away. That looks newer. It's got the electric motor now that I look a little closer, so still something just to make it a little easier to run, I imagine. So we got a little closer look at the steam engine here, and yeah, you can feel the heat from here. This thing is smoking hot. But what I wanted to show you was actually the turning mechanism. So big worm gear, and then it turns the chains, and then there's a worm on there, and it, depending on how you wind that, it turns with chains. So I mean, obviously this thing wouldn't be moving very fast. You would need the kind of fine control that you would need with a modern car, but I mean, this thing is just amazing. All the rivets that needed to be. You can see a small repair there. So just a very nice, neat old piece of machinery here. Very tall wheels, probably close to 6 feet tall. So, very, very neat piece of equipment. And the gentleman is actually moving it now at the moment. Back up and get out of his way. And there he goes. As it were, you can see the turning mechanism. So just a small move there. Maybe he's getting into position to start that sawmill up.
top of the ball. That's the governor.
Yeah, we've got the governor.
Which
my compatriot here
just talked about being balls out, because as it goes,
okay,
push it down and close it off, so you can only have so much.
Very interesting tidbit there from my M2 Designs buddy over here. And no, the gentleman is in fact taking it for a ride. Oh, you're good, you're good, you're good. It's all B-roll. And I'm wondering if that's about top speed there. So, and away he goes. Hopefully he'll be back to run that sawmill. Nice old Ford, even registered. Nice. And we have an antique hit and miss driven washing machine. See there in the center, it's doing its little thing going back and forth here. Got a big machine running behind me. Hope you can hear. So, then we got another one running over here. Not quite sure what this machine does. Very fast hit and miss right there. So we got a couple smaller things here. Appears to be a Bunton company. Never heard of them. Looks like a small weed whacker? Maybe a very small mower, probably no more than 18 inches. I'm not sure if that's the original engine, but it probably is because the paint looks the same. And then we have what they call a Bobcat over here. I don't believe that is any relation to the modern skid steer company. A couple of neat small pieces here. Off to the right, got a small Oliver Hart car. Looks like it's been here a while. Very cool. A couple other smaller, oh, that's a hit and miss, as it were. And some sort of, oh, it's a Detroit, I just see. So, newer alternator, so this thing's probably a runner. And then over here, we have a corn grinder making meal. So, load it into the hopper. You see it's shaking there, dropping it down into the grinder. And the belt just fell off. Oh, at least we got it beforehand. Coming very nicely redone John Deere 140. Very nicely repainted. Look at that. Very nice. So we got a nice little collection here of some John Deere Industrial. At one time, John Deere's, some of their ag equipment was painted yellow and sold to municipalities as an industrial line. So I guess it stood out more on the side of the roads and such, as opposed to the green. Obviously this yellow would one day turn into their construction line, which they are now known throughout the world for. So on the other side, from those yellow John Deere Industrials, we have approximately the same models. That one over there is an 830, this is a 730. But similar enough for this exercise. You can see here they are, again, largely the same, just a different color, because the ones over there were sold for municipalities for road work and such, and these ones were sold to farmers and presumably homeowners to do work around the farm or the yard. Very, very cool to see both sides of the same coin, as it were. So a really neat one here. It's a hit and miss obviously liquid cooled, but if you look right here, it has what I'm surmising is a very early form of a radiator. So obviously there's some sort of, you can see it right in there. That's a water pump. It's then putting it back into the tank, and then that is forcing itself through here, and then spreading itself across the little stranded metal there. And the idea is as it's going, just the natural air temperature or any kind of breeze is cooling the water off and then pumping it back in. Very neat early form of cooling, even way back well over 100 years ago, 1911. So we got another hit and miss driven water pump. This one's just a loop circuit, but I imagine you could do all kinds of pumping needs with this. Maybe a small pond or just even a hole you were digging way back when. The hit and miss engine brand is Gray Motor Company out of Detroit, Model G. And it's just sitting here chugging along. Another oddball you don't see very often is a two-wheel drive motorcycle. This here is a Rokon Trailblazer Breaker 1969, and you can see the gearbox here on the front and the chain that runs to a sprocket on the front drive. There's even a small brake there. So I love this show because you always find some very oddball pieces of equipment such as this. A much smaller group. You see this gentleman here is doing some engineering on his hit and miss here, his little oil bottle. No pressurized lubrication, something this old. And off to the right, got a John Deere hit and miss. Very nice. And got another one running here. It says the Associated Line. Running a small water pump, which is pressurizing a faucet down there. So what we have being demonstrated here is a horse-powered cart dump. I'm not quite sure the technical term for it. But you can see here the horse is driving around, walking circularly with a gear driven that makes a drive shaft turn, and then is turning some sort of gear mechanism that is lifting said trailer to dump it. Much easier than using something like a hand crank per se, or... Okay, so we've got a Caterpillar 20, what would you call it, a crawler? Dozer?
Sure.
Okay.
No, it's not a dozer.
A crawler? So what, there's a namesake bar, correct?
And you use it to, because see how slop the track is? You use it to adjust that spring-loaded to keep it out.
Okay.
But I don't know how it does it. I've never been up that close to it. But these were gas.
But there's something called a 20 bar, or what is known as a 20 bar, and it got the name from this because the bar was used to tighten these. That's correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
All right. But said 20 bar was useful for various other bar things, as it were. Okay.
I think probably more 20 bars have not been used on 20s than 20 bars used on 20s.
All right. Little history lesson there. So, this gentleman here has a very large collection of IH Farmalls, from very small up to rather large. Very cool. They all look like they've been somewhat recently refurbished, rebuilt, rehab, whatever you want to call it. Very nice collection. A blue John Deere patio model. So I'm not sure if it's original. It's definitely been repainted, I can tell you that, but maybe it's a 110 green that they repainted blue, but very beautiful.
I have another one that I'm working on.
That
one's a 67.
67, all right.
This one is?
Yes.
That's a 69 72.
69, 70, that's what the patios were.
Technically, they weren't called patio.
Okay, that's a modern
That's
terminology.
the phrase they gave it to them.
Okay.
They produced them because Ford, Case, Alice Chalmers, and International all had a different color. So John Deere figured that's what women wanted.
Okay. Okay, and it was blue, red, orange, and yellow.
Yep.
Okay. And it was 69 to 72.
69 72.
But some of them are 140s, is that correct?
They're all, no, they're all, there's a 140, there's a 110, 120, 140, and a 112.
Okay. And you could get each of those in a color?
Yep.
At the time?
At the time.
All right.
And when they weren't selling, the dealerships took the seats off.
Oh.
And painted them green and yellow, put a yellow sheet on it.
Okay.
The only way
Okay.
you can tell them the difference is by looking at the serial number and rerunning the serial number.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, they got a whole thing up on it. There was a thing in the Green Magazine or Cylinder Magazine years ago.
Years ago. All right.
Still find it online.
Okay. Thank you for the information, sir.
No problem.
So, as the gentleman told me who owns this, 1967 round fender. Definitely on a bucket list somewhere for me. Would love to find one of these rare pieces of history.
That on the side? What does that say then? Oh, I can't. Very good. Come along. Oh, yeah, yeah. And you would just take it one link at a time. Took me a long time to find the right chain. Yeah. It pushes the right, and it just comes out to one. Yeah. Oh, you get it on both ways? Yeah. Okay. And then this would be the lock. Okay. To hold it. A half a link back. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.